Hello everyone, this is the third in my four-part series on the chorale settings of Johann Sebastian Bach. This week we'll be looking at the chorale Allein zu dir, Herr Jesu Christ, BWV 261. This is a fairly long chorale that is particularly interesting with regards to harmony. The chorale is based on a 16th century melody by an unknown composer. The poem was written in 1540 by Konrad Hubert, who, by the way, lived in my city, which is Strasbourg. The poem tells of a sinner reaching out to Christ for redemption, and also emphasizes the fact that no one else besides Christ is able to provide such solace. In his setting, Bach uses only the first verse of the poem. As always, I'm going to start by reading the German text, and then we'll look at the English translation. Allein zu dir, Herr Jesu Christ, mein Hoffnung steht auf Erden. Ich weiß, dass du mein Tröster bist. Kein Trost mag mir sonst werden. Von Anbeginn ist nichts erkoren. Auf Erden ist kein Mensch geboren, der mir aus Nöten helfen kann. Ich ruf dich an, zu dem ich mein Vertrauen han. To you alone, Lord Jesus Christ, my hope on earth looks. I know you are my comforter. There is no comfort for me elsewhere. From the beginning, nothing has been chosen. No man has been born on earth who can help me out of my distress. I call to you, in whom I have my trust. The chorale appears several times in the cantata of the same name. However, the present version is a standalone setting for SATB chorus. So let's hear the original melody at the piano, followed by Bach's complete four-part harmonization. As is so often the case with Bach, the first thing that strikes you is just how thoroughly he's gone about accomplishing his task, and also his way of going much farther than strictly necessary, always with the ultimate goal of the greatest possible musical richness in mind. For instance, Bach takes a little seemingly inconsequential three-note segment from the original melody and turns it into a motif that then spreads through all of the voices, considerably enriching the texture. In the following phrase, bars 4 to 8, Bach goes even farther, taking this little motif and having it be tightly braided throughout all of the four voices in this passage. So notice how that little three-note segment is present everywhere in this passage. The second half of the melody is a sequence repeated twice at the words Von Anbeginn ist nichts erkoren, auf Erden ist kein Mensch geboren. As we will see, Bach characteristically takes the opportunity to harmonize this repeated sequence in two completely different ways. Bach even manages to fit in some literary figuralisms here at the words Erden and Mensch with their connotations of infallibility, which are accompanied by dissonant suspensions. Remember, Bach frequently uses musical rhetoric to emphasize the gap between the heavenly realm of grace and perfection and the earthly realm of imperfection and fallibility. As far as the melody goes, it has a number of interesting features. In common with virtually all of these Lutheran hymn tunes, it's modal and lacks a straightforward key center. In Bach's setting, there is a particularly strong tension between modal and tonal frames of reference, oscillating as the piece does between four different keys: D major, B minor, E minor, and B major. In addition to this, the chorale makes liberal use of secondary dominants, including this genuinely unusual progression at the words Zu dem ich mein Vertrauen habe. In beat 3, look at how Bach crosses the bass and tenor lines, something that students are told to avoid at all times. There's no obvious reason for him to do this. It's not to avoid forbidden parallels, for example, so why exactly does he do it? Well, for no other reason than to create more pleasing lines, with the bass rising an octave and the tenor descending a tritone, rather than merely repeating the D as it would have done otherwise. Now let's look at the harmony at bar 13 at the words Der mir aus Nöten helfen kann. Here we have a truly unusual progression ending in an E minor half cadence. Bach liberally uses chromaticism here to enrich the harmony and make it considerably more interesting. So here we come to the limits of Roman numeral analysis. So how exactly do we interpret this passage? The first thing is to try to determine the harmonic beginning and ending points. The phrase seems to begin innocently enough in B minor, but it ends on a half cadence in E minor, and in between there's an allusion to F sharp minor. You'll notice the augmented sonority on the downbeat of bar 13. This is the result of a suspension as the tenor makes its way downwards from B to G sharp. In functional terms, this is a dominant seventh chord in F sharp minor, leading to a 1 chord on beat 3. So the opening of this phrase is therefore ambiguous. We think that we're in B minor at the beginning, but retroactively it turns out that that chord is actually a subdominant of F sharp minor. Are you confused yet? There's more. He then uses the D sharp in the last beat of bar 13 to pivot to E minor. This elaborate progression with its deliberate harmonic ambiguity is a musical figuralism on the word distress, with its connotations of being confused and unmoored. Notice how deftly Bach moves from dissonance and instability at the word distress to clarity on the word helfen, with this wedge-like progression ending in a B major triad. The following phrase, Ich ruf dir an, I call to you, is a return to harmonic clarity in D major. There is then an immediate brightening of harmony and texture with elegant melismas and beautiful wide chord spacings as the sinner calls out for redemption. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to return for the 4th one in the series. My statistics show that most of you watching these videos are not in fact subscribed to the channel, so it would mean a lot to me if you would consider subscribing. And as always, please also note that I do offer private, personalized analysis and composition lessons on Zoom. If that's something you would like to do, you'll find relevant information in the video description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.